social media, y'all ain't worth a damn. Not a single damn. Because here I am, roughly couple of days before the season premiere of season 3, House of the Dragon. I'm getting ready for it. And y'all allowed a new show to just fall into my lap. And not just any new show. No. A good new show. Now, I know y'all don't know what I'm talking about, but this thing is on Netflix. A show called Polygamist. The Polygamist. It got 1 season, 22 episodes. That alone is insanity. Because what new show gets 22 episodes on Netflix off the mark? Now, each episode is about 30 minutes long, but they're really good. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not even a fourth of the way through them. I'm on like episode 4. But as of episode 1, I knew the drama was here. I knew it because it opens up at a funeral. And this is not a real spoiler, but I'm going to give a little piece. It opens up at a funeral. Everybody in there is wearing black, and they keep showing these different women and their faces. So I'm assuming these are possible sister wives, I guess. And then they show a woman coming down the aisle, and she's wearing white. So I know, just because of the fact she's wearing white, she's wife number 1. And now this show the cast is predominantly Africans. And that makes sense because there are some parts, some cultures in Africa where polygamy is completely okay, completely legal. So I get it. Now, it is mostly subtitles. You'll have to read the subtitles, and I'm cool with that. I have no problem with that. And then they got this thing where you used to find in some old Japanese ninja movies where the lips don't match what's being said. And I thought that was going to be a problem for me. But as the drama ensued, didn't even bother me. Didn't care anymore about it. The Polygamist on Netflix. Y'all need to tap in and watch that thing. The episodes aren't long, so you should be able to get through it in no time. But let's get to the meat and potatoes. House of the Dragon season 3 premieres this Sunday, 8 p.m. And I'm ready. I'm so ready. We've had about 3 trailers, a sneak peek scene, and I can tell this season is about to give us everything. Everything. Okay? Now, there are some people out there that had their issues with season 1 and season 2. You didn't like the time jumps in season 1. You didn't like the pacing in either season. The lack of action was a problem for you. Me personally, I didn't like how they let Laenor just roll off into the sunset and never gave us any resolution to his part of the story. There's a laundry list of issues people have had with this show. But for those of you, like myself, that have been patient, you love a good story, let me tell you something, the payoff is here. It's time. It's about to be good. This thing is about to move, and you don't want to miss it. If you blink, you're going to miss something good, okay? Now, as I've said before about House of the Dragon, season 1 was the intro. Season 2, the setup. Season 3 is about to be utter and complete chaos. It's going to be complete chaos, okay? Now, before we can really kind of say what all we're going to get this season, I'm going to give you where I think season 3 is going to end. I think season 3 stops at either the Butcher's Ball or the Fall of Dragonstone. Somewhere in there. Because I think the season is going to end with a major character's death. I'm not going to say which character. And to those of you who've read the book, by me saying the Butcher's Ball, I've probably given away that character already. But oh well. But I think it's going to end in a major death. But I think Butcher's Ball or Dragonstone, they both could happen in the same episode. or they could separate it and have one happen in episode 7 and then one happen in episode 8. That gives both sides a major victory going into the season finale. So what are we getting this season in between, before those moments? Chaos, like I said, everything is going to be fucking crazy, okay? Now, episode 1, we already know we're getting the Battle of the Gullet. So that's chaos and a big loss first episode. Like I said, you blink, you're going to miss something. And some of this is spoilers. If you have not read the book, I'm going to give you a couple of spoilers here. So if you don't want the spoilers, fast forward. So I'm going to give you some of what I think we're going to see and some of the things that we already know we're going to see just from looking at the trailers. One of my favorite characters from this story, Lord Roderick Dustin, a.k.a. Roddy the Ruin, and his Winter Wolves from the North. We've seen them enter into the Riverlands at the end of season 2, and now they're here in season 3. And of course, they're going to be getting to work. They're going to be in battle. The Winter Wolves are only involved in about 3 battles from the Dance of the Dragons. Battle by the Lakeshore, also known as the Fish Feed, the Butcher's Ball, and the First Tumbleton. Now, which battle in the season are they going to be in? I think they're going to blend a couple of things together, because we get a sneak peek scene of Daemon and Lord Tully in a post-battle. And it looks like a battle the Blacks have won. And Daemon mentions Jason Lannister. And Jason Lannister does fall in battle during the Dance of the Dragons. He falls at one particular battle, but I think they're going to have his death at a black victory instead of a green victory, like in the story. So, and I think that battle will be the Battle by the Lakeshore, which directly involves the Winter Wolves and Westerlands, and not Westerlands, but Rivermen. Now, what's different about that is that Daemon is not involved in the Battle by the Lakeshore in the book. But of course, we know book canon and show canon, it's going to be 2 different things. Also, I'm sure just from the trailers, we're going to get Rhaenyra taking King's Landing in season 3. And Rhaenyra taking King's Landing is going to be like a major part of this season, because it's one thing to be on Dragonstone trying to win this war. And it's a whole nother thing being in King's Landing, holding the Iron Throne, trying to run the kingdom while also manage a civil war inside your family throughout the Riverlands, the Reach, and everywhere else. So this season is going to have a lot of moving parts. And we see, while Rhaenyra is in King's Landing, there's going to be interactions with Alicent, of course. And I think there's definitely going to be a major moment for Rhaenyra with Helaena. Her and Helaena share a tragedy. Rhaenyra lost Lucerys at the beginning of this war. Helaena lost her son Jaehaerys at the beginning of this war. And so they have that. And I think there's going to be this moment where her and Helaena are going to talk, and Helena's going to hit her with some of that prophecy, like she did Aemond about losing his eye in season 1 and how Aemond is going to die in season 2. I think Helena's going to give that to Rhaenyra in season 3. Another moving part, I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Rhaena Targaryen. They've blended her story with Nettles, which I think is a travesty to remove Nettles from the story, but that's neither here nor there at this point. But I'm ready to see how they move her back into the mainstream of the story. I also want to see how Rhaenyra is going to respond after the Battle of the Gullet, because Rhaena was supposed to be the one looking after Rhaenyra's remaining 2 children with Daemon. And she basically left them to go chase a dragon, which she comes face to face with this dragon. So I'm interested to see how her story turns out with the dragon and how they move her back into the story and how Rhaenyra responds to the fact that you weren't at your post when my children needed you. Another moving part, we get the Dragon Seas and their progression as dragon riders and what they're going through in this story, especially Hugh Hammer, because he's, very closely, per the story, he's very closely related to the Targaryens, and he probably feels like he's owed more. And as the story goes in the book, of course, he feels that way, and he's going to act on it at some point. Sorry for the spoiler. And of course, we're going to have Aemon and Cole taking Harrenhal, which is a major key part of Daemon and Rhaenyra taking King's Landing, because they believe when they get to Harrenhal, they'll be able to defeat Daemon, but when they get there, whoop, Daemon's gone. He's not there. Then we also have Aegon and Larys. They're just out in the world. We don't know where they are. We know they left King's Landing at the end of season 2, and they're out there somewhere. And we have Aegon, who I think as the season goes, he's going to fall deeper into his distrust of people around him. The last real interaction he had with his mother, she said, "Hey, you're the king, you got the crown, but that don't mean shit. You still ain't up, you're not doing anything, and you don't need to do anything." And which eventually leads to him flying off on Sunfire and getting injured. So he's still dealing with his injuries. He doesn't know where his dragon is. He knows that his brother is the direct cause of his injuries. So he got to deal with those things. And so we're going to see him fall deeper into his issues and how he's dealing with the people around him that he no longer trusts. The big question, as we get to the end of this, the big question for me going into this season is, who the hell has Otto Hightower? The last time we seen Otto, he was sweating. He looked a little defeated. He was locked in a box. Who the hell has Otto? I'm going to give you my opinion. Who has Otto Hightower? I'll tell you who I think has him. I think Otto Hightower has been captured by the Red Kraken, also known as Dalton Greyjoy. Now, Dalton Greyjoy was offered the role of Master of Ships on King Aegon II's small council. He turned it down because that's not his style. That's not great. Greyjoys aren't people who are going to come to meetings and sit down and talk politics. No, that's not their style. But I believe he's the one who has captured Otto Hightower. Because while Rhaenyra is in King's Landing, she wants her enemies brought before her. She wants Aegon. She wants Aemond. She wants Cole. And she has her people out there, Daemon and all the rest. I want my enemies brought before me, and I want them taken down. And I think the Red Kraken, Dalton Greyjoy, is going to show up in King's Landing, and he's going to give her what she wants, something that the rest of her people have not done. And she's going to get Otto Hightower from him. And in return, he's going to get what he wants. See, Greyjoys, they like to raid and pillage and all those things. And in the book, that's what Dalton Greyjoy does for the blacks. He sides with the blacks, and Rhaenyra gives him free reign to just wreak havoc on the coastlines of the Reach and the Westerlands. He sacks Lannisport. He does all manner of things on the coast of that side of Westeros. So I believe he's the one who has Otto. He's going to bring he's going to bring Otto to Rhaenyra. And of course, we're going to get what I've been wanting since the first episode of House of the Dragon Season 1. The execution of Otto Hightower. Daemon is going to get that head, and I can't wait to see it. Season 3, House of the Dragon. This Sunday, y'all, 8 p.m. is the start. It's going to be good. It's going to be everything we want. I can't wait. But it's time to switch gears and let's get to something else. Today, in things worldly, but not nerdy. Have you ever heard the phrase, "you are your own worst enemy"? Well, that happened in Oklahoma this week. On Tuesday, there was an election, and on the ballot was State Question 832. And State Question 832 was a motion, I guess, to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour by the year 2029 statewide in Oklahoma. Now, the current minimum wage in Oklahoma is $7.25, same as the federal minimum wage, and it's been there since 2009. That is 17 years, no change, no raise whatsoever in the state minimum wage of Oklahoma. And some other states follow the same, like Texas. I hate it here sometimes, but I don't make $7.25 an hour. But I'm thinking about other people that do make $7.25 an hour, and I don't think that's right. But anyway, the question is asked. You have to ask yourself, why did the state of Oklahoma, why did 55% of their voters vote against this measure? Well, propaganda. You know, those who are against minimum wage going up to $15 an hour, they'll say things like, oh, if we raise minimum wage that high, the price of a burger and fries will be $20. But truth of the matter is, you can go to Five Guys and get a burger, fries, and a drink for $20 right now. Okay? That's just a scare tactic. That's just propaganda to get you to feel like, oh, I don't want prices to go up, so I'll just keep making pennies on the dollar. Now, also another reason why it probably failed is because of the time of the year. And I do believe this is planned that way. And I'm not blaming either side for that kind of planning, but I'm pretty sure it's planned this way. And let me explain. These special elections, runoff elections, they don't happen in November. Some do, some don't. A lot of them don't happen in November. And I think not having them in November is part of a plot, because 9 times out of 10, most people are not really paying attention to random elections in April, May, June. Okay? They're just not. No, most people are not paying attention. But if you take that election and put it in November, more people are paying attention, especially if it's around the same time as a presidential election or midterm elections. So I think that's one of the reasons why this ballot measure also failed, because I feel like if you'd have put that on the ballot in November instead of a random week in June, it might have passed. But then again, this brings into frame the fact that from an education standpoint, Oklahoma always ranks near the bottom of the 50 states, around 48 to 50. And this makes sense to me because you got to be a special kind of stupid to not want a raise, to say, ooh, they won't raise my pay to $15 an hour. I bet you I'll vote against that shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I just feel like that's the stupidest thing I've heard this week, because that should have been a no-brainer for the people of Oklahoma. But 55% of the people that voted said, nope, we don't want it. Go figure. Question to the mothers out there. Why would you stay in a relationship with a man who has toyed with the thought of hurting your kid? I'm going to tell you where I got this from. I was watching a video earlier this week, and there's this woman, she has a 13-year-old son, and they're laying in the bed in her room at the place she calls home, watching a movie. And then all of a sudden, the boyfriend comes home, and when he walks in the bedroom, the kid automatically jumps off the bed. Just jumps off the bed real quick. Put a pin in that part, though. Put a pin in that. And then, of course, the boyfriend goes completely off the rails. He is completely upset. I done told you time and time again about having him in bed and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm trying to figure out, sir, why are you so upset about this kid watching a movie in the bed with his mom? Like, I don't understand that. It didn't make sense to me. Like, I can understand you don't want dogs in the bed. You don't want cats in the bed. Hey, pet down their hair and all that. Totally gettable. Totally understandable. But a kid, her son, you don't want the kid in the bed? Why? And as I continue to watch the video, he makes this comment. He's like, he brings up this moment in recent history where he almost hurt the kid. Like, oh, he gonna puff up his chest at me. I almost hurt him. And I'm like, ma'am, in that moment, when this man says to you, I almost hurt your kid, that's the time for you to get up and leave. If this is your house, he needs to go. If it's a house you share together or his house, pack y'all stuff and dip. Okay? Because the fact of the matter is this is how I feel. If you are willing to verbally tell me you almost hurt my kid, to me, that makes me feel like you're testing the waters a little bit. I'm going to say this and see how she responds. And if she don't respond a certain way, then maybe I can be a bigger disciplinary and really put my hands on this boy when he decided to puff up his chest at me. Because when he said that, she was still really calm, and maybe she was playing calm in the moment because once the next time he left, they was gonna get their stuff and leave. I don't know, but the simple fact that I didn't like the way she responded to it. Because why? And now let's take the pin out the part where he jumped off the bed. The fact that he jumped off the bed when the moment this guy walks in the room, that shows me some sign of fear. Like at some point in time, he truly threatened that kid, okay? Because any moment in my history of being a kid and raising kids, when a kid immediately stops doing something, when a parent walks in the room or a parental figure walks in the room, that means this is a conversation that this parental figure has had with that kid before, and that kid knows if I'm get caught here, I'm gonna be in some sort of trouble. So he fears this guy already. Now, growing up, I feared my parents, but it wasn't like a fear that they're going to hurt me. I feared disappointing my parents because I knew things that disappointed my parents. If I did them, there would be consequences. I grew up getting whoopings. Not gonna lie to you. I didn't get a whooping for every little thing. A lot of the times, if me or my brothers got whoopings, it was because things piled up. And we had a number of infractions that led to a whooping. Now, of course, there were some things that were automatic whooping. Stealing, lying, being disrespectful to school, bad grades. Oh, automatic whoopings. Those are automatic. But I feel like she should have got up and left. I really do. I feel like she should have got up and left because your kid is showing fear, and this guy is snapping about your kid laying in the bed with you watching a movie, not sleeping in the bed, not coming into the bed with y'all in the middle of the night like my little brother used to do, my mom and my stepdad. No. He's mad because your kid's laying in the bed with you watching a movie. That's a red flag. And as I'm watching the video, I go into the comment section because the comment section sometimes is always better than video. The comment section, you got a lot of men in there, and I'm disappointed to say it, black men was saying, well, he set a boundary, she should respect it. Bruh, that's the dumbest freaking boundary I've ever heard. I'm all for setting boundaries, but come on. He can't sit in the bed with his mama and watch a movie? That's the dumbest boundary I've ever heard. And let's also understand something. That kind of boundary, this is not just his house. This is our house, our bed. When you set a boundary in a communal place, we both need to agree on it. So just because you set a boundary don't mean I gotta respect it, especially if I didn't agree to it. All right? Just Carrie's opinion. Now we've reached what has become my new favorite segment of this podcast, and we call it Pulling a Thread. And this is where I take random questions that I found on the Threads app, and we're going to rapid fire. We're not going to dig too deep into it, but we're going to answer these questions real quick. Maybe some of them may take a little bit more, but for the most part, we're just going to run through it real quick. Are we ready? Let's get to it. Question number 1. If you had a MySpace profile song today, what would it be? Let me tell y'all. Back in May, I went to a Bruno Mars concert, the Romantic Tour. And I'm going to tell you, Bruno Mars puts on one hell of a show. And I've always been a Bruno Mars fan, but after seeing him live, a lot of his music is just stuck in my head. But the 2 songs that stick out to me, if I had to choose, it would be between I Just Might by Bruno Mars and Locked Out of Heaven. Most likely Locked Out of Heaven, because Locked Out of Heaven go hard. And your sex takes me to paradise and your love. That's my jam. I don't care. All right, next question. What's your favorite non-sexual form of intimacy? Watching TV together. I love it. I love watching a show with my significant other. Now, it can be a show we're both watching for the first time together, which is really cool. Or it can be a show that I've seen before and she hasn't. So now, as we're watching it together, I've already seen it. I get to see the look of amazement and wonder and wow on her face as we're watching. And it gets me excited, especially when they go to asking you, well, what happens next? What's going to happen? And I'm just sitting there like, you got to keep watching. You got to keep watching. I'm not going to tell you the show. I'm not going to ruin it for you. So yeah, that right there is probably my favorite non-sexual form of intimacy. Next question. Do you guys care about women wearing lingerie before intimacy? Let me say it like this. I think lingerie is cool. I think lingerie has its place. I think it has a time. But for the most part, it's not that big of a deal to me. I don't need lingerie. She don't have to put it on, honestly. You know, on a special occasion, Valentine's Day, anniversary, maybe my birthday, cool. But on a random Tuesday, baby, go put my big t-shirt on and come through here barefoot. Hey, oh, start the party. I don't know what it is about barefoot and a big t-shirt. It just does it for me, especially if she got white toenail paint. Oh, God. Whew. Anyway, I'm sorry. Next question. Do you expect the woman you're dating to eventually pay for a date or at least offer? Yes. Yes, I do. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Social media will have you out here believing that women don't pay for dates, that it's always on the man to pay for the date. That is a falsehood. That is a lie. And I'm going to tell you why it's a lie. Because a woman that genuinely likes you, that genuinely wants to be around you, genuinely enjoys being in your presence, she's going to show it. She's going to do things for you. Okay? I promise you this. I have experienced this myself. Okay? I have had a number of meals paid for, cooked by women. Okay? I've been in the trenches, okay? I know what I'm talking about. A woman that genuinely likes you, she's going to do things for you because she's going to get to know you. She's going to learn those things that you truly like. And then she's going to go out and find those things. Oh, I know this. I found this thing I know he would like, and I want to take him. And when she get ready to take you over there, guess what? You ain't going to have to pay for nothing. She gonna be done bought the tickets, whatever necessary. Why? Because she genuinely likes you. She genuinely cares about you. And a woman who genuinely cares about you will do the things to let you know that. Promise you that. Last one, and this is not a question. This was a sentence. This was somebody wrote 2 sentences, and I'm gonna tell you what it says. Don't bang your coworkers. Don't date them. I'm gonna put another piece on the end of that. Don't bang your coworkers. Don't date them if you cannot be an adult about it. Hear me when I say this. A lot of people will tell you, don't get your honey where you make your money. And for a lot of people, that is true. And they live by that. But let's be honest. Studies show 60% of people have had a romantic relationship in the workplace. 43% of those relationships led to marriage. And another 40% went by the wayside, breakup, cheating, whatever. So the thought process that workplace romances is going to go somewhere is BS. And you're not going to tell people, hey, you shouldn't have relations with the people you work with. Okay. And you're right. If you're not capable of being an adult about it, you shouldn't. If you're not capable of separating your work from your personal, you shouldn't. Okay. Because if you're dating a baddie, fellas, and she's fine, other men in the workplace are going to try to holler at her. And if you going to cause a scene at work because other men in the workplace are trying to talk to her, yeah, you don't need to date in the workplace. Okay. Ladies, that man's attractive. You're not the only one that finds him attractive. So if other women are keying in his face and you gonna blow up the spot and make issues at work, then you don't need to date somebody you work with because you're not adult enough to handle it. Okay? That's all I'm saying. If you can't be an adult about it, don't bang your coworkers. Don't date them because you are not capable of operating within the confines of a relationship and working with that person. Now, grant you, I will say this. I don't think you should be in a relationship with somebody that you are their supervisor. That's just a conflict of interest. You shouldn't do that. But if you work in human resources and she works in the other side of the building doing something else, then hey, I don't see a problem with that. As long as y'all not working directly together in a supervisory role where one is over the other, I don't see the problem. Long as y'all can be adults about it. Long as you're capable of leaving your personal shit at the gate, okay, or in the parking lot. If you can leave your stuff in the parking lot and keep it professional at work, and if both of y'all can do that, I say go for it. Again, 43% of workplace relationships lead to marriage. That's all I'm saying. All right. But that's my time for this week. I'm Lord Cicero the Great. If you want to reach me, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, Lord Cicero the Great on all of those, YouTube as well. But this right here, this is the Southeast Kingdom podcast, and I'll see y'all next week.